Warning: the following video is raw and unscripted. Ranting and rambling may occur. Viewer discretion is advised.
Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you.
All right. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Josh from Nightmare on Woodsboro Lake. Today, I have a special guest on the show. I have Chris of Midnight Danger. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine, man. Thank you. And you?
I'm doing pretty well so far. It's gonna be a long day. I have this interview with you, and then later today, I've got to go to a music video shoot. So it's gonna be
All right, cool.
gonna be fun. So thank you for coming on the show. I mean, this means a lot to me because I love your music. I mean, I have like all your albums on my phone and I listen to them on a almost on a daily basis. So
That's awesome, man. Awesome. No, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting me. Like, totally appreciate it. Super cool. I came across your channel through your reaction videos, and I thought it was pretty cool. So thank you so much for like supporting and inviting me for the interview. It's super cool.
yeah, of course. Anytime. Like this is so big for me. So um I guess we'll go ahead and jump into some questions and kind of see where we go from there.
All right.
So if I'm correct, you started Midnight Danger in 2015?
Yeah, that's right. That's correct. It was like second half of 2015.
Oh, nice. And so what kickstarted that whole thing for you?
Yeah, it was like, well, I because I'm actually Brazilian, and I moved to Sweden in 2015. So when I was here, and like, I don't know, something happened that let me try to do some synthwave. No, just making like a long story short. But no, for real, like, I was listening to synthwave for a couple of years already back then. And when the first band I listened was Dance with the Dead, and it was back in 2013, and it was super awesome, and like, it was something I've never listened before, but I always imagined something like that, like it was so nostalgic and new at the same time. And I got pretty much into the band, and then into the whole genre. I started to find another artists, and like Carpenter Brute and Perturbator and like the Midnight, and like the big names. They were already getting big back then, and some other artists, and it was super fun. Like, to listen to that music was, it was not because, as I said, like, the music is new, but it was bringing like a lot of nostalgic and new feelings to me. Like, it was super cool. And then I guess I spent most of those the next 2 years listening to synthwave only. Like, I'm a metal fan and hard rock fan, glam metal fan, but like, those 2 years were focused on synthwave. So I moved to Sweden in 2015, and I decided to, oh, let me try to do something. Like, I wanted to have a band here in Sweden,
Yeah.
and it was like a new country, new city, and everything. I didn't know so many people back then.
Mhm.
And so yeah, let me try to do something here for fun. And it was getting closer to winter here. That
Mhm.
is pretty much dark. Like, it's very dark here when we are like in the fall and getting to winter. And it's very different from Brazil, because
Yeah.
like, here, like, I don't know, December, for example, you have like um, the sun for like 6 hours only in the day. It's super different, and it was getting cold, and it was like that dark atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to synthwave for 2 years, and like, oh, let me try to do something. But I just wanted to try, just for fun. And to see if I could understand how it works with the softwares and the plugins and everything. And it turns out I finished my first song, that is Evil Night, but I still had only this idea of, right, this is just for fun, like I'm a big fan of the genre. I just want to to show how a big fan I am, just putting out some music and stuff. But it was super cool, like then I released the song and I started to have some feedback from that. And it was super exciting, and I was, okay, let me try another one. I'm gonna keep working on more music and stuff. And I guess the first 2 years of Midnight Danger, I mean, the first year and a half was more or less like this, like it was totally for fun until I have my first show, and then I was like, oh man, this is. It was still a lot of fun, but
Yeah.
that was the moment I was like, I'm gonna get like really into it, and this is gonna be the main project in my life, But it started like that. Like I moved to a new country. I've been a big fan of the genre, and like the atmosphere was dark, it was getting cold, and I was like, oh, let me try to do something here, especially because I had this kind of horror approach to my music, So I guess it totally fits with the whole background I told you.
Yeah, for sure. And you've named some of the bands that I listen to too, and I mean, definitely you're up there, and like you're tied for like first place with Dance with the Dead with me. Like you guys are both like my favorite like synthwave groups. So
that's awesome to hear, man. Thank you.
yeah, because I also listen to like a group called Cluster Buster, Zombie Hyperdrive,
Oh yeah.
stuff like that too. And I'm big into that synth wave, and I love how your guys' stuff like has more like there's like a rock and a metal element too, with like the guitars, the shredding, the solos. It's fantastic. It hits all the marks for me because I'm a big metalhead too. So like synthwave and metal are like my two biggest things. So definitely up my alley.
That's awesome to hear, man. Thank you so much. It's like I like all those artists and bands you mentioned, and like even Cluster Buster and Zombie Hyperdrive. You said, like, I remember listening to a lot of. I still listen a lot to their music and stuff. I love Cluster Buster, and
Yeah.
so yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, of course. So here's kind of a question. So when you first picked up an instrument, when was that? Were you like a kid when you started like playing music? And what was the first instrument you played?
Well, it was the keyboard, and I was still a kid. I probably was like 7 or something, 7 or 8 maybe,
Oh yeah.
and it was a gift from my mom,
Oh,
and then I had lessons for, I don't know, for a year, I guess, maybe a bit less than that. But so that was my first experience with an instrument and everything. But since that time, I remember I liked to listen to guitar solos, like Brian May from Queen and
hmm.
other guitarists from that era, because my father used to listen a lot to melodic rock and classic rock and stuff. So I really liked guitar solos. Like one of my favorite artists back then was Michael Jackson, and
Nice.
then you have the song Dirty Diana,
Oh,
and
I
the
love that.
guitar solo in that song is fantastic. And I remember I was listening to that on repeat, just because of the solo. So but for some reason, I guess it's because we moved to another city, and then we didn't have like a keyboard teacher like where we moved to, and then I stopped playing the keyboard. And then when I was 13, I got my first guitar, and then I started to play guitar and never stopped.
Nice.
So that's it. And so like my knowledge with keyboards, it's kind of basic, but I know how to write the songs and to play some melodies that I play live on the shows and stuff. And I really like the instrument. I think like keyboard or piano are fantastic for songwriting, you know, like when you can explore a lot of melodies with the
Yeah.
keys, you know. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely love keyboard and piano. I think it really adds like an extra element to a song. Kind of brings like an emotion to it too, you know, like uh
Yeah.
for sure. So that's awesome. I mean, I'm glad you picked up the guitar. I really dig what you do in your songs with the guitar. It really adds that extra spice to that synthwave sound that you've got. So
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, like I try to, like in the beginning I wasn't so sure like how I was going to do with the guitar because I was still learning to work with the plugins and everything. And like I had in my mind like how the fuck will I find room for guitars in the song? But then it comes naturally, you know. It's in my songwriting. Now I cannot. I have to try to write a song without the guitar, you know. Like in my second album, there's one song without any guitars, and that was on purpose. And it was super hard not to add any guitars there and to make it sound cool without the guitars.
yeah, essentially
But
it's like a peanut butter sandwich without jelly. You know, once you've had it, you're like, you don't want to just have peanut butter anymore. You want to
yeah,
you want to have the fixing. So yeah,
yeah.
and it really works. I mean, the way that your guitar and your like synth, it's almost like they're like interweaving with each other, and they really complement each other a lot. So awesome work.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. I try to do that, you know, like as you said, like to you know make everything like complement. You know, in one instrument it's like a complement to the other one, and not like everything is the main at the same time. And because I really think that the synths are really important on synthwave, so I don't want to take the room away from the synths. You know, like I want to have the guitar and still okay, this is still synthwave. It's not like metal, you know.
Yeah.
But the metal is there, you know. So you have to find a way to cross the two things. And I think that is like very exciting when you were writing a song. And the song I told you that like, oh, I had to try to write a song without the guitar is because like there was in that album, chapter 2, Endless Nightmare, like all of the songs have guitars. So, okay, except for the intro and this one song I told you about. And I know that um, like a lot of synthwave fans like the songs without guitars, you know. So like, oh, let me do something for them. But still, it was challenging because I wanted to make the song sound as cool as if it had guitars, but without guitars, you know, like to match with the whole concept of the album. I think it was a pretty good result on that track. But I'm always like, okay, I need to put some guitar here and there, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a fantastic album. I that's always been kind of tied with Malignant Force for me. I really enjoy both those albums, like are my favorite. So yeah, I enjoyed that album all the way through. So fantastic work.
awesome, thank you.
Yeah. So I kind of got some. This is a question I had, but I ended up kind of getting some of the answers from you already. I was going to ask, you know, who are your influences when you're writing these tracks, and I definitely can see the '80s influence in your music, and that's one of the things that I love. Like, I wish I was born in the or like in the late '70s, early '80s. Like that's like my favorite time era. I unfortunately I was born in the beginning of the '90s, so I kind of missed the mark there, but like, you know, I always wanted like the puffer vest kind of jacket, like Marty McFly from like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And like, I was all about the '80s style and the music. So like your music is just, I feel that like you're talking about the nostalgia because it reminds me of so many like '80s bands and like some of like the synthwave reminds me of like kind of like the music you would hear in like a Friday the 13th movie or like, you know, like a horror movie from back in those days. And that's another thing that I love about your music.
All right. Yeah, I guess like I was born in '87, and I didn't have like I didn't leave the 80s and experience the 80s too, you know, like even though like I was born in 87, so there was like 3 years, but I don't remember anything from that time, you know, and then it doesn't count. But I guess the 90s were like very close to the 80s, so we still had something from the culture, you know, that was yeah, it was much closer than, you know, like the not only the time, not only chronologically speaking, but the culture was very very close. Still, we still have like same, not exactly the same, but like the video games and the movies there were, you know, they
Yeah.
still had kind of the same vibes in the 90s, especially like early 90s or something. So like I grew up playing those video games and watching those movies and, you know, listening to the music. And and I guess everything that I experienced in music and culture until now are influencing me, you know, to write songs and to make my music. It's not something specifically, you know, and it's one of the things I like about Midnight Danger and Synthwave, because it's not like, okay, I'm going to do like for example glam metal, and then I have to sound like those glam metal bands, you know, like from the 80s, or you know, it's I have to sound the way I feel when I watch a movie. That's how I think, you know,
Yeah.
or the way I have to feel the same excitement when I watch a music video when the band is playing like a big live show in the 80s or something. And it doesn't matter if it's metal or hard rock or glam metal or like pop music, you know. So I think all what is more important to me is like the atmosphere, as I was saying, like the vibes, you know, and like when I'm writing a song, this is what I have in mind. It's not as if I'm trying to do like any specific let me try to do something like this or that artist, you know. Of course, everything is already in my mind, you know, in my head. It's
Mhm.
part of me. I listen to a lot of music, and when I think about music, it's like my logical thinking. It goes in that direction, you know. But what is the most important thing is the way I feel. So like horror movies, as you were saying, like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. Usually when I write a song, especially because I have many of my songs, they're like horror uh, oriented, you know, and I test the music, you know. I try to that music on top of a movie. So like I just play a random clip from a movie, like on YouTube or something, and I play the music, and I'm like, okay, it's getting to the vibe
Yeah.
I wanted, you know. So well, I guess as I said, synthwave and what I do with Midnight Danger is inspired and influenced by a lot of things, not only other artists or other music. It's like by the whole culture, and probably that's why you feel it when you listen to the music. As you said, like it's so nostalgic, and like I feel I'm going back in time to a time that I never lived, you know.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that you just go on what you feel, because you know that's the best way to write music, is just like the emotions that you're currently in and like the state of mind that you're in. Like when I'm writing lyrics for my music, that's how I go, and I draw from experience, and I draw from like what my emotions are, and what and possibly, you know, like what they've been in the past, and I, you know, reflecting and just kind of like, so I totally get it for sure. So
All right, that's cool, man. But of course, like if I had to give like a more specific answer, like, oh, what is the kind of music you listen and that is relevant to your music, then I will say like 80s glam metal, like Motley Crue, Dokken, Wasp, bands like that. You know, I really like a lot of power metal too. So I like Halloween and Gamma Ray, Ed Guy, and Rhapsody, bands like that, I like black metal as well, and I like pop music, and as I was saying, like Michael Jackson, and I like synth pop, and I like new wave and stuff like that. So I can pick artists from all those genres, and somehow they influence me on like on something on my work. Maybe it's not like the music itself, but for example, a lot of people, if you look at my music videos and my pictures and like my live shows, oh, it looks like a glam metal band. Okay, but is my music glam metal? No, it's not. But there's something there, and you can see it, and you can pick something here and there when you listen. But it's interesting because you have a lot of other things mixed, So.
Yeah. For sure. That's awesome. I'm glad to see that all this stuff in your life influences in like different ways, for sure, from your style to your music to everything. It kind of plays like a small hand in everything, but it's mainly you. So that's awesome. Very
Awesome,
nice.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's a little bit of a different question. So, if you have any kind of fears, what is your worst fear?
That's an interesting question. I have to think a little bit about it.
Okay.
I don't know, man. It's kind of hard, like, okay, for example, I don't like frogs, so like if there was a frog here, I would be like, for some reason. But I guess like you were talking like in a bigger picture, something more. I don't know, man. I guess maybe it's like getting to the end of my life and realizing like I didn't try to do the stuff I'm doing now, like I remember, or like I could have tried it more, or it could have worked more, could have worked harder, and so I don't know, like when I never thought about that, as you said, like I just
Yeah.
as you asked, but I guess that's it. Like I really like what I do, and I fear that for some reason I will not be able to do it anymore. For example, we just had 2 years that I wasn't able to play live because you know what, yeah, and I totally hate it, and I wish I will never have to go through anything like that in my life. I wish it will be over soon, and I have to tell you that sometimes I was afraid that, okay, maybe I will never play live again anymore, so what's the point? Why will I make a new album? And I made 2 albums. I released 2 albums like during this pandemic, and it was 2020, the other one 2021, and I was still working, but something in my head was like, oh, maybe what if I will never be able, to do my thing, like to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Of course, I can keep working on albums at home and still release the albums, or like even if, let's say, Synthwave dies, like I can still release the music regardless of that, or like I can start a new project that is different,
Yeah.
But this is something that is usually in my mind, like what if I will not be able to do this anymore, or what if I will get to the end of my life and realize I didn't do it enough, I didn't try it enough, or something like that,
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic answer. That is a great way to look at that. And I mean, I definitely feel you, because there's nothing like a live show. There's nothing like having the audience like out there just looking out over them and enjoying your music, and knowing that you're playing for all these people that love what you do as much as you do. So I can 100% agree with that fear. That's a very logical fear. And, for me, like, I didn't think about it more until recently when I thought of this question. And I was like, well, kind of for me, I don't know if this is irrational or not, but like I feared that when my life is over too, that it's just going to go black. There's nothing after. There's no afterlife or no anything. Like, it just goes black, the lights are cut out, and that's it. So that kind of just like creeped in my head, and I'm like, I don't like, hopefully that's a long ways from now. But
Yeah. I hear. Yeah, that sounds horrible too, like it's over and then it's over. And I
yeah,
guess I fear losing the people I love too. I guess that's important, like as I said, it's kind of hard to answer when you get a question like that, because I don't usually think about it during the day, like, so
yeah,
it's not like an answer that I can just give it to you like, oh yeah, that's what I fear the most, but I
yeah,
have to think about it. But I guess you're right. That is the example you gave me. It sounds horrible as well, and like losing loved ones. It's okay. Eventually, this will happen, but it's something that hopefully it will take a long time. And
yeah,
but this answer about the live shows, for example, if you had asked me that like 3 years ago, maybe I wouldn't give you the same answer, because we had this experience of not being able to play live and travel and tour in the last couple of years.
yeah,
But yeah, but now that we've been through that, it's something that I remember I spent some time thinking about it in the last 2 years. What if I will never be able to play again,
yeah,
And well, maybe maybe it will be possible to play again this year. I'm trying to figure it out, even if it's possible to do something around here that is like safer to book all the travels and logistics and stuff. And then this is a new start,
yeah,
But it's I guess it's important to understand that, for example, the first show I played with Midnight Danger, it was 2017. So and then the last one was December 2019. So it was a bit over 2 years playing, and now it's a bit over 2 years that we are going through this.
yeah,
So it's like, oh, it's not as if you spent all of your life doing it, but well, somehow it is, because we are talking about Midnight Danger only, but I started to play with bands like back in 2000, 2001. I had my first band. Actually, it was at the end of the year 2000. So it's been over 20 years playing and working on something, and trying to find what you like to do, and trying to find what is exactly that you have to do in this music business, and then like when you start doing it, all of a sudden, okay, you have to stop, and it's horrible. So yeah, fingers crossed it will be back to normal, and I hope it will never happen again. It's a fear I have, but hopefully it will be fine.
yeah. Hopefully 2022 is a year of like shows going back into full swing and some level of normalcy for sure. Like we went
Yeah.
we went to our first like concert in forever not that long ago. We went and saw these metal bands, A Day to Remember, Asking Alexandria.
Yeah.
We went and saw them in Utah, the state of Utah, and it was so great to just be back at a show. Like I realized how much more I missed it. Like I missed it, but then as soon as I was there, I just was like, man, I missed this way more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm hoping this year is just things go back to some normalcy and we can get back to enjoying our lives, and like music goes into full swing. I definitely would love to go to one
Yeah.
of your shows sometime. So
Hopefully, man. Like I was actually before this break, the break on tours and shows and stuff. Like we were planning, me and my booking agent, an US tour for 2020. So it was going to happen probably like around August 2020, something like that. We had in the plans, and he has the connections in the US and everything. Of course, we didn't do it, and we are not planning to do this now because we don't know. Like it takes months of planning, and like you have to put time, effort, and money to plan the logistics and stuff. So we're not gonna do this now, but hopefully soon. Like as soon as it's as we can see, it's safe to book something, and we will know that the shows will happen. So we will probably do that, and I hope to go on a full US tour, and then hopefully we will play like close to where you live, and then it's you will be able to see Midnight Danger.
Yeah, and I mean, and if even if that doesn't like pan out the way we plan, like I mean, if it means me catching an international flight, I just need to come see it live sometime. I'll figure that out if I have to. Like I'll come out there if I have to. I'll make a way.
Oh, that's another option. That's cool, man.
For sure. So seeing that this, my channel is a horror channel, I did throw quite a few like horror questions in there too. So if you were to survive the night with one of these iconic horror characters, which one do you think you'd have the best chance of surviving against? So we have Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Leatherface, Pinhead, the Creeper, or Freddy Krueger.
Well,
a tough one.
Yeah, like not Freddy, because like I don't know how could it be possible to escape from Freddy. Like it's too risky, like okay, they always manage to bring him from the dreams to from the nightmares to real life, but I guess that's too risky. Jason, like you cannot kill the motherfucker, but
yeah, he's a brute force to be reckoned with. He's a big mother trucker.
Yeah. For sure. he is my favorite, so
yeah,
I guess not Jason. But like I feel more like joining the characters, like no, just kidding. But I think maybe I don't know, Leatherface or Michael Myers. I guess Leatherface.
Yeah.
I guess probably Leatherface. He's like very, he's strong and brutal and stuff. But I guess you kind of can sort of escape because he feels a bit stupid. I guess I would say Michael Myers maybe, but the last movie changed my perspective from Michael Myers. So maybe it's like, because for example, as I was saying, like you cannot kill Jason. Basically, like you can try, but you might put him on like in the lake, and with the chains, like he will be underwater in the lake, but he will stay there for a few years and he will come back.
Somehow
maybe I could trap him somewhere.
You could pull
that's a possibility.
Yeah, you could pull a Tommy Jarvis from Part 6 and chain him down to the bottom of the lake to that rock and just leave him there, because well, oh sorry, I was gonna say he didn't escape because of like his own means. Like Part 7, that girl brought him back up from the lake, otherwise I think he might have stayed there.
He would have stayed there for longer. Yeah, that's true. So like I don't have to kill him, it's just like how to trap him. But like he's too much supernatural, I guess. So that's why I would go for either Leatherface or Michael Myers. But probably Leatherface, because again, like after the last movie from Halloween, then my idea from Michael Myers changed. I guess that was on purpose. I don't know if you watched the last Halloween.
Oh yeah,
That's,
Halloween Kills. He
yeah,
was
exactly.
super brutal in that movie, and he just took like everybody out, especially in that last scene with like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
people ganging up on him. He's still just cleaned house. So yeah, I wouldn't mess with Michael Myers, not at all.
Yeah, that is because of that scene. That scene alone changed all my idea of Michael Myers, and that's why I wouldn't say Michael Myers. So I guess Leatherface. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree with that 100%. He's kind of dumb. He's kind of slow. He's human, and
Yeah.
he never seems to leave Texas. So like, all you have to do is get on the road. Like, look at the original. She got in the back of that truck and escaped and left. She
Yeah.
made it. Like,
Exactly.
that's all she had to
That
do.
was it. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
All right, yeah,
Yeah. So
all right. Awesome. I agree with that answer. Okay. So if you had to choose just one of your albums, which album was your favorite? Like, what was your favorite to work on? Like, what songs did you enjoy the most writing?
hmm. Uh, I I guess like the process of working on each album was very unique to each album.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of things that I enjoyed in the first album, *Malignant Force*. Especially because I wrote that one with like a very simple setup. I didn't have so much equipment, and then I had to make stuff work, and that was exciting about that album. So I enjoyed a lot of that process. The second album was really cool to work on as well, but I felt a lot of like feels like I had to put much more work in the second album for some reason. Like I know a lot of people prefer *Malignant Force*, but all the production in the second album was much more work, and that was fun. At the same time, it was like eventually it was kind of annoying because I wasn't finding the right sounds, and I was like, oh, maybe this is not gonna work. I didn't have that feeling with *Malignant Force*,
Mhm.
but I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just like, oh, maybe this is not gonna work. Oh fuck, like, oh, what the fuck am I going to do with this song? I need to take a break of 2 weeks in this song, and then we'll go back. And I didn't have to go through that with *Malignant Force*. But now looking back to chapter 2, I think that was fun. It was part of the process. Like it was what made possible to deliver the sound I got on chapter 2. But the Nights at Lake Milson, the last one,
Mhm.
was a lot of fun because of all of the guest musicians. It was the first time I did something like that.
Yeah.
I never worked with other artists. Like I never brought any other guests to work with me. And then all of a sudden I had like big names working with me in one album, and it was supposed to be an EP. And but then it was like 6 songs plus two different versions, alternate versions of a couple of songs. And then it became an album, and like every song, it's kind of different from each other. Like I felt like I could, like, different from the other albums that I tried to make everything sound like inside, the same concept, same idea.
Yeah.
In Nights at Lake Milson, even if they do sound like in the same concept, same ideas, like I tried to do different stuff. For example, I always wanted to write a song with the saxophone, but they wouldn't fit in the other albums. So it was fun to work with the saxophone in this one. It was the first time I did it, and like I wrote many different melodies with the saxophone, and it's a fucking nice instrument.
Oh yeah.
And so it feels like you were singing. Like when you have a melody, there's so much expression, in the saxophone lines, and it feels as if you were writing like a vocal melody for the song.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun. And then I wanted to have the first song with vocals, and I wrote the lyrics, and I wrote the melodies, and that was like new to me. I didn't do this in the other albums as well. It was fun, it was new, and So I guess Nights at Lake Milson, because it's the latest experience I have writing and producing an album, was my favorite, you know.
Yeah.
But it has less songs, so it feels like, it's not that it feels maybe it feels lazy because, oh, this was my favorite, it has 6 songs only. No, but it was even though it's only 6 songs, there was the thing with all of the guests,
Yeah.
and these different songs, you know, the ones with as I said, with the saxophone, with the vocals, and Maniac has like this very different drums from my standard drum kit. You know, it has more gated reverb and like more kick and like a different rhythm.
Yeah.
So, and that was on purpose. Like, I need to do a song like that that will not be just like the tum, 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 you know, like it will have something different.
Yeah.
So, and it was a lot of fun to make these different things and still sound like Midnight Danger. That was challenging as well, and I guess it was well done.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that album. I really enjoyed that song with the saxophone, Fatal Attraction, for sure. Um, it like, because for me, I really enjoy saxophone. I don't hear that enough in music. My first song that I ever like really like heard it in was, I think it's Urgent. I think it was in the song Urgent by Foreigner. Um,
Okay.
they had saxophone, and then I was like, man, this sounds awesome. And then like Lost Boys movie, Tim
Oh
Capello
yeah,
with
yeah,
I
absolutely.
Believe, that was like, that's like my favorite song. I don't know why, but I just love it. And then they had him on a Gunship song. I don't know if you've ever listened to Gunship at all, but like
Yeah, it's fantastic.
yeah, Dark All Day, that's a great song with Tim Capello in it. But Fatal Attraction, I'm like, it has like this seductive kind of feel to it, because you know saxophone is just like this really seductive instrument. I don't know what it is about it, but it just gives you this feeling, and I love it. So that was really awesome. And I really also enjoyed that song in the City Lights. um that was really
With
good.
vocals.
Yeah, that was really fun too. And then obviously Maniac and A Storm Out There were some of my favorites off that too. But yeah, that was a fantastic album. And like you said, each song was unique. Like it didn't feel repetitive at all. Like you could sit and listen to that album a like a ton of times and it wouldn't get old. Like even after I listened to it for the reaction, because you know I had to save that and kind of have that raw reaction, you know. So I waited and I'm like, God, this is killing me. I just want to listen to the whole album already. But I just was trying to do it day by day. And then after that, though, I started.
I was actually going to ask you that, like, if you indeed managed to listen to a song each day, or like if you had a quick listen and then, okay, let me go back and just, you know, pay more attention now. But it was like every reaction was indeed like new. It was a new song.
Yep, it
All
was a
right.
new song. It killed me every day. I was like, okay, got to stop at just one, and I would just do it day by day and listen to it for the first time, because that's the thing about my channel is I want people to get the realist experience from me. Like I know there's people that kind of script it out, or they like watch it once and then they go back and watch it again for their video, but like I want it to be as like raw and real as it can possibly be, so you get the full experience. So yeah.
It was really cool, man. Really nice videos. I really enjoyed seeing that. It's actually very fun to see that, you know, because like for example, me, I've been working on these songs for months and months and months, you know, like especially with the guests that you have to send the song and then you take it back, and then you like special Terror by Night was a song that I wrote the entire song, and then Rafael from Angra, he wrote the guitars on top of it, but in the whole song. So I had to change stuff in the mix to make it you know, to fit his guitar in the song. And I was listening to that on repeat, you know, and I didn't have the chance, as you said, like to get a new song and listen to that and feel it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure like if in the end my songs were actually passing that idea that I had when I started writing those songs. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you have an idea, you start writing and producing that, but then you listen to it so many times, and then maybe it gets lost somehow, you know.
Mhm.
Okay, of course, I'm just like maybe exaggerating here a little bit, you know, because like I wouldn't release the songs if I didn't know they were ready and, you know, giving that feeling. But still, it's interesting to see the reaction, you know, like
Yeah.
it's nice when people send the comments, you know, like, oh, this was fantastic, oh, fucking love this song, blah blah blah. But to see the reaction, it's super cool because then it's, I don't know, I can feel it better, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, because, words only can express so much, but getting to see like people's like facial reactions and just them like bobbing
Exactly.
their head and getting into the music, you can see how they're taking it in. And yeah,
Exactly, especially because when you write a song, like, well, you have a band, you know how it is. Like every part of the song is, it's not as if you start writing the song and then you finish. Like every part, eventually you will write like the different parts separately, or you will have to change something in the middle because of some reasons. And then when you were making your reaction videos, then you were pausing and like, oh, this was this, and that, you know, like you were basically describing the songwriting process, you know, like it was interesting because you paid attention to details that are there because of the reasons because of the feelings you mentioned after, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, it's great being like a musician and being able to like look at it with that perspective, because you get the perspective of people who don't make music, and that's great and all, but it's also I enjoy like being able to understand like why the bridge went into the chorus this way, or why did we go halftime, or just the different things you have to do to make the song flow appropriately.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, for sure. And I enjoyed it. I'm glad I waited and did it day by day, because after that I got to just listen to it as many times as I want. But I just got to give people that fresh, like this is me listening to it for the first time. Like I don't have any preconceived notions about what it's going to sound like. I have no idea, and just go into it for the first time. So yeah.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. Okay. So that was great. So if I know this might be a long ways back and this might be a stretch, I'm just trying to toss out some fun questions or some interesting questions, what was your first CD purchase?
You mean that I went to the store and bought the CD, or like that my dad gave to me, or something like that?
Well, either way, like, what was your first CD that you received, I guess, either if that was a gift
Okay,
or
it was Bad from Michael Jackson.
nice.
It was actually, I got actually three CDs. My dad bought our first CD player, and then he went to the store to buy the CDs. He bought like a few CDs for him, and then he bought three for me. It was Bad from Michael Jackson. It was Cyndi Lauper, She's Unusual, She's So Unusual. What's the name of the album? You know, like the first one from Cyndi Lauper. And it was like, and it was, the other one was Madonna. It was a compilation from Madonna. So those
Nice.
were the three albums.
Very
And then when I bought my first CD, what was it? Because for some time then I had those three CDs, and then but mostly I would, after that I would listen to the CDs my dad had, back then.
yeah.
So I'm trying to remember when I bought my first one, like, I'm going to buy this. Okay, I had to ask for the money, to my mom. But I can remember two CDs, but I don't remember which one came first. It was Americana from The Offspring.
Nice.
And the other one was a Real Live Dead one from Iron Maiden. I don't remember which one I bought first, but it was I bought the two around the same time back in 1998.
Oh man, what a time that was.
Yeah.
Those were all great CDs. I mean, I love Madonna. My mom used to have the Cyndi Lauper hairdo when I was a little kid.
All right.
And she gave me a mullet as a little kid.
That's awesome.
I recently sent her a picture of that and she's like, "Ha, you've got a mullet." I'm like, "And whose fault was that?"